Here's our protagonist, a guy who seems pretty cool but not really. He suffered a lot to get here, had to be literally eaten. His ex-girlfriend cheated on him for a plate of non-vegan food, and she even had the audacity to sleep with her lover right in front of him. But that wasn't the end for him. He went back in time and not only got insanely strong, he also got himself a beautiful pink-haired lady. The story begins with a volcano erupting in the middle of the city. On the streets, the traffic signs stand in stark contrast to the scene of complete destruction. A bus moves through the streets amidst the evacuation. Inside the vehicle, passengers crowd together while a young man looks at his phone. A man comments that the earthquake and eruption from days ago killed thousands, and his companion laments that they left in such a hurry. Another passenger informs that the city's warehouse products have already been moved, and even a lake and another depot have dried up. Then the man next to the woman corrects him, saying the total value of these supplies reaches tens of trillions. A young man seated says that the disasters are just the surface, as the end of the world is coming. The other man mocks the idea and says he looks forward to it, as it would be when all living beings would become equal. But the young man stares at him and says that, even at the end of the world, there is no equality for all. He knows this because he has personally experienced that devastated reality. A giant creature with countless teeth and a huge eye appears before him. In his past life, he was just an ordinary delivery man. Then the apocalypse came with an abnormal release of solar energy, causing underground monsters to rise to the surface. The whole world changed, marking the beginning of a new order. In that world of extreme scarcity, people fought even for a pack of instant noodles. For a simple sausage, one had to give up everything. And he was reborn from that apocalypse, returning to a month before it all began. Back in the present, the woman on the bus touches his arm to get his attention. She says that the conversation scared her a little and approaches him. But the young man pulls away, saying he has more important things to do as he hands her a note. He then exits the bus and walks down the sidewalk. Alone, he wonders what is more important during the apocalypse. Stopping in front of a large warehouse, he answers himself, supplies. In his past life, he wasted time searching for them, but this time he needs to prepare in advance. Arriving at work, his boss informs him that 21 seconds of delay will cost him half of the day's salary. He remembers that when the apocalypse came, his boss fled and his salary was lost, so the supplies are his compensation. So he decides that he will take everything for himself. Standing in the middle of the warehouse, he prepares to activate his ability. A system begins to automatically detect and store all the rice, cooking oil, and meat around him. The automatic storage process empties the shelves of the warehouse. Box after box of supplies is transported to his dimension. He reveals that this is his spatial power, capable of creating a super-large cubic space. Using this ability, he dried up lakes and plundered cities, making the acquisition of supplies very convenient. In the apocalypse, fresh food is a luxury, but in his space, time is frozen, keeping everything preserved. He cries with relief, finally not having to eat dirt like in his past life. After composing himself, he cleans his hands. A holographic list displays the inventory of all the supplies he has collected. With so many items stored, he can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Then, he opens the door and asks his coworkers to help him move the goods. The boss and two other employees enter the area. They find the massive warehouse completely empty. The man turns to the young man and asks where everything went. Calmly, he simply responds that he took it all. The boss orders his employees to capture him, but the young man crosses the floor and states that he won't be late anymore. He says his goodbyes and disappears completely, causing one of the men to fall to the ground. One of the employees stammers that he vanished, leaving the boss speechless. Outside, a crack opens in the wall of the building. The young man emerges from the portal and lands safely in the alley. He reveals that this is his second ability, spatial jump, which allows him to move within a 3-meter space. With this power, he can enter abandoned buildings to find supplies and escape from mutated beasts. Then, he takes off his work uniform. Throwing the vest into the air, he declares that his zero-cost shopping mission is complete. He turns around and walks away, leaving the others behind. As he walks, he reads on his phone an official notice asking people not to panic about the disasters. He puts the device away for a moment. His expression becomes serious. Suddenly, the phone rings with a call from Jiang Shaoqian. He takes a deep breath before answering the call. On the other end of the line, Jiang Shaoqian accuses him of disappearing and of being naive to think any woman would want him after selling the house. She betrayed him. the memory hits him, showing the moment when a man attacked him from behind. On his deathbed, he saw the woman in bed with the other man who called him useless. Jiang Shaoqian merely said that if he died, it was because of incompetence. And she even adds that the other man's competence will be judged by his performance that night. He remembers how it was a mistake to trust someone like her. But this time, he swears that Wang Haoyu and Jiang Shaoqian will pay the price. With his fist clenched, he promises that they will not have an easy death and will feel the same pain he felt, multiplied 1,000 times. He tightens his hand forcefully and then slowly relaxes it. It's on the ground, coughing. Jiang Shaoqian runs to help Wang Haoyu while Suchen walks into the real estate agency. She screams for him to kneel and apologize, otherwise, he can forget about the marriage in this life. He just glances back for a moment before continuing his way. As they flee, Wang Haoyu threatens him, but Suchen simply calls them useless. Inside the office, the manager offers him a glass of water. The man offers to pay for the house and asks what he thinks. The manager watches him carefully for a moment. Suchen demands full payment on the same day, but the man proposes signing the contract and making the poster, considering taking a high-interest loan. Soon after, he calls the company and asks if he can mortgage his property with the certificate. He arrives at the Hanhai International Building. At the door of Great Sea Loans, a voice says his house doesn't seem to be worth much. Already seated in the office, Suchen asks how much he can borrow and recognizes the man in front of him. It was Wang Dehai, Wang Haoyu's older brother, who in his past life was devoured by mutant beasts. The young man demands an additional 100,000 and promises to repay it as soon as he makes a profit. Wang Dehai agrees to the loan, believing he is just a desperate player. A new transfer, now for 600,000 yuan, is confirmed on his phone. Far from there, Wang Haoyu swears that he will have his older brother kill Suchen to make him pay. But Jiang Shaoqian spots someone in the distance and asks if it's Suchen. He confirms and decides to follow him to figure out what the young man has been up to. In his memories, the Green City Hotel was one of the few commercial buildings that withstood all the natural disasters until the end. He enters the place, considering it a good base due to its well-equipped presidential suite and even a swimming pool. Even with the city's warehouses empty, there are still hot meals and ingredients available here. A woman approaches and introduces herself as Lu Xinrui, the manager of the hotel's restaurant. He then asks if he can order 1,000 tables for a banquet, leaving the manager surprised by the request to make connections. When she asks how she should address him, he simply replies that his name is Suchen. The manager then asks if he is getting married, and he confirms, asking her to also reserve the presidential suite. With the deal closed, he turns and leaves the hotel. He exits satisfied with the transaction, knowing that in the post-apocalyptic world, even a simple block of ice will be worth billions. Lu Xinrui watches the reservation for the honeymoon suite and thinks that his bride is a lucky woman. At that moment, Jiang Shaoqian and Wang Haoyu still doubts that Suchen is rich, and the woman wonders if his cold behavior was part of a test. To confirm, the manager shows them the 50,000 transfer on her phone. She imagines herself in a luxurious setting and says that she never thought she would live something with the money from the house and the loans. The remaining 800,000 yuan isn't enough. With a smile, he decides that it would be a waste not to take out an online loan as well. So, Suchen downloads over 80 apps and takes several selfies to secure 30 loans of varying amounts. He receives a notification that his current balance is 977,000 yuan. Relieved, he throws himself onto the bed, satisfied that he managed to get 970,000 yuan in loans. But he quickly gets up, remembering that there's no time to waste and that there are still many things to buy. Looking at his phone, he realizes that items like fireplaces and smokeless charcoal need to be bought online. He knows that his survival through the extreme heat and cold that will come depends on these two supplies. On the phone, he orders 2,000 tons of charcoal and agrees to pay a deposit of 500,000 yuan. Soon after, he calls an ice factory to order ice blocks and schedules a meeting. Across the street, a woman recognizes him. Jiang Shaoqian's friend approaches and says she missed him, but Suchen knows that it was she who helped Jiang Shaoqian occupy his house. He confronts her, asking if she missed him or his house. The friend tries to intervene, explaining that Shaoqian was just testing him and that he doesn't realize how sad she was. Then, Jiang Shaoqian approaches and asks him to join her for a walk, apologizing for reprimanding him. He pulls away and says he has something to do today, suggesting that she take a walk alone. The friend calls him arrogant, but Jiang Shaoqian points out that Su Chun is taking a taxi. Then, the friend urges her to follow him, claiming that this must be the final test. Su Chun arrives at Ronghua Ice Factory, where a man is waiting for him at the entrance. Mr. Wu greets him, surprised by his youth, and the young man asks how long it will take to produce 2,000 tons of ice. The man assures him that his factory is the best in efficiency and that the order will be ready in 3 days, costing a total of 800,000 yuan. He agrees and transfers 100,000 yuan as a deposit, with delivery scheduled to the provided address in 3 days. After receiving the payment, Mr. Wu asks the reason for so much ice and suggests future collaborations with negotiable prices. Getting into the car, Su Chun states that he plans to donate everything to charity in Alashan, leaving the man confused. As the car drives away, he is impressed by the young man who closed an 800,000 yuan deal at the entrance. Another taxi pulls up to the location, and he wonders if it's another customer arriving without an appointment. Jiang Shaoqian and her friend get out of the vehicle, and the woman introduces herself as Su Chen's fiancée, asking what he was talking about. The man is confused by the charade but reveals that the young man just ordered 800,000 yuan worth of ice. The two women are shocked by the information, confirming that Su Chun is indeed a super-rich second-generation heir. The friend then asks the factory manager if Su Chun revealed what he intended to do with so much ice. The man explains that he said he would donate everything to charity in Alashan. The two women react with complete disbelief at the answer. With all the items purchased, Su Chun decides it's time to enjoy the time left before the apocalypse. In his past life, he was always busy working, so now he enters a luxurious restaurant. Sitting at the table, he looks over the menu of a sophisticated restaurant. He comes across a mysterious item on the menu that costs 17,000 and wonders what that means. The waitress explains that it's a special creation of the chef, and he decides to order the dish. He remembers that, at the beginning of the apocalypse in his past life, a strange force caused many creatures to mutate. The monstrous serpent from the Shan Hai Jing book resembles the mutant creature he encountered, but he prefers to call it atavism. A woman with long hair approaches his table with the dish. She introduces herself as the head chef of the restaurant and says the dish was made specially for him. Su Chun recognizes her instantly. It was Duanya, the hell chef. In the apocalypse of his past life, she had a magical culinary ability to transform decaying matter into food. She asks about his expression and describes the dish as two-faced life, a tuna steak prepared in 2 different ways. He eats the dish and admits that the taste was worth the 17,000, but wonders if the woman would poison the food if she were cooking for him in the apocalypse. Outside, Jiang Shaoqian's friend reminds her not to forget about her when she becomes a rich wife, and the woman assures her that she definitely will. Su Chun then decides to go to Ariaskin's bar, the gold sales vault of Xanadu. He recalls the story of a rich boy who spent 2 million there and never even saw what an abalone looked like. Sitting on the sofa, he reflects that extravagant places like that won't exist in the apocalypse and regrets not having gone into one in his past life. 3 women approach, asking why he isn't drinking, and invite him to join for a toast. He observes the environment while drinking calmly in his seat. One of the women explains that their friend Yunyun was cheated on by her boyfriend and that they brought her here to have some fun. Her friend complains about the ex, and Su Chun responds that reproductive desire is ingrained in the bones of a real man. Yunyun downs her drink and comments on the cocktail she just had. She sits next to him and asks if he is single. The woman then moves even closer and asks if he is willing. At a distance, Jiang Shaoqian's friend encourages Yunyun, telling her that the ex-boyfriend doesn't deserve her. They watch the scene, and Jiang Shaoqian wonders what Su Chun is doing and if he's cheating on her. He puts his arm around Yunyun and invites her to go out. He invites her to go up the stairs, but suddenly, Jiang Shaoqian and her friend appear and yell for him to stop. Ignoring their calls, he takes the girl into a room down the hall. He then closes the door behind them. Inside the room, he apologizes for the behavior of the 2 women. The girl reveals that it's her first time. He flicks her forehead and asks if she's drunk. Then he advises her not to leave the house in the next few days and to stock up on food. As he opens the door to leave, he says that there's no future and that people in love shouldn't frequent places like that. He exits the room and shuts the door. Outside, he finds the 2 of them knocking on doors and realizes that his opportunity for the night has passed. In a warehouse, workers ask where to place the fireplaces and if the ice will melt, but he simply instructs them to move everything inside. Wang Haoyu informs Jiang Shaoqian that Su Chun rented the warehouse and is bringing in many machines, making her curious. Her friend then spots a van and recognizes the Green City Hotel staff bringing the banquet. With a red carpet laid out and tables being arranged, the woman suggests that he might be planning to be a rich lady. But her friend convinces her that this must be a test to see if she qualifies for the position. Determined, Jiang Shaoqian agrees to help, claiming that she's not a delicate woman. She struggles to carry a heavy box, believing that if she passes the test, he will definitely marry her. The friend also offers to help, thinking asks if he has anything else to say. He thanks her for helping with the work, infinite storage ability to store all the items. The sun sets on the horizon, and the day comes to an end. Night falls over the city, and the lights of the Green City Hotel turn on. In a restaurant, Wang Dehai promises Jiang Shaoqian that he will take care of her and that his word carries weight in Xanadu. Wang Haoyu says that she should have broken up with Su Chun a long time ago, and she agrees, waiting for his performance. He then assures her that his older brother will take revenge, and the woman considers that being with Wang Haoyu might be better. But they enter the restaurant and are surprised to find Su Chun calmly eating at a table. Wang Haoyu immediately points to him and tells his brother that it was the guy who attacked him. Then Wang Dehai recognizes him as the punk from the loan. Accompanied by his men, he says he was already planning to meet him for daring to touch his younger brother. Wang Dehai explains that Su Chun mortgaged the house with him and that the payment is due tomorrow, so his brother suggests settling the score once and for all. Jiang Shaoqian's friend comments that he doesn't know his place for borrowing money, and the woman feels lucky for not getting involved. Su Chun simply wipes his mouth with a napkin and laments that he can't even enjoy a good meal. The man reminds him of the debt due the next day, but the young man claims he can get the 600 approaches and questions who gave them permission to cause trouble there. Wang Dehai stares at him and immediately recognizes him as Gao Chong. Su Chun recognizes him as Gao Chong, the Skull Crusher, who in the previous apocalypse was a major force in Xanadu and had the Hell Chef under his command. He remembers that, after the apocalypse, the Green City Hotel was the first place to have atavistic mutations, which explains the origin of Gao Chong's ability. The man turns and stares at him for a moment. Then Su Chun decides that this opportunity is now his. Gao Chong simply comments and expected that, this time, after abandoning her, she would end up following him to the hotel. But now, this presents a good opportunity to settle the score with her. By the pool area, Wang Haoyu comments to Wang Dehai that the night feels hotter than the day. Wang Dehai congratulates him on the idea, and the two laugh in anticipation of the girl's arrival. Nearby, Jiang Shaoqian and Li Na observe the moon, commenting on its unusual glow. Wang Haoyu suddenly approaches, grabs Jiang Shaoqian's hand, and catches her attention. He then declares that his love for her shines with the same intensity as the moon, and he claims that she is the witness to his love, but Jiang Shaoqian just complains about the heat and asks to go to the pool. Watching the moon from the window, Su Chun remarks that their love is about to explode. Then he raises his glass in a toast, welcoming the apocalypse back. The entire sky trembles as the moon begins to pulse. Outside, the group by the pool stares at the phenomenon. Suddenly, they feel their skin burning and run frantically back to the hotel. Meanwhile, men are playing cards in a room and wonder about the sudden brightness. The group from the pool then crashes through the glass door to enter. The players stand up and question what's happening to their skin. Fallen on the floor, everyone screams about the heat and begs for water. Wang Haoyu spots a large aquarium across the room. The three rush over and throw themselves against the glass to reach the water. Already wet, he pushes the girls away, shouting at them to get out of the way. The other men in the room ask what they're doing and where his brother is. Wang Haoyu turns and also shouts, asking where Wang Dehai is. At the door, Wang Dehai appears, his body covered in bubbles, and asks for help. Mr. Sun turns to Duanya and asks why she isn't drinking. Gao Chong tries to intervene, mentioning that he prepared a banquet for him, but the man reprimands him, saying that no one in Xanadu dares to refuse his wine. Duanya glances at him sideways, while he looks away. She continues holding the glass of wine, staring at Mr. Sun. She stares at the glass in her hand, not making any move to drink. A strong light from outside then illuminates the room, forcing the men to shield their eyes. Someone runs to close the curtains and complains about the sudden heat. Gao Chong warns Mr. Sun that something seems wrong and calls him to see what's happening downstairs. Alone, Duanya remains still with the glass in her hand. In the lobby, manager Lu Xinrue tries to calm the crowd, but a man shouts that he can't wait for the rescue. Gao Chong questions a man about the situation, who informs him that the outside temperature has risen to 70 degrees. Mr. Sun then calls Minister Zhao, asking for someone to pick him up at the hotel. He hangs up and explains that no one is available to pick them up at the moment. In another room, upon reaching the outside, he is startled by the brightness and the temperature. Suddenly, one of the vehicle's tires melts and bursts on the asphalt. Then all 4 tires burst, leaving the car stranded. The man exits the vehicle and wonders what kind of weather this is. Running down the street, he warns on the phone that the tires have burst and that he needs to return. The sole of his shoe begins to melt and stick to the hot ground. He stumbles and falls, causing the phone to fly out of his hand. The driver lies motionless in the middle of the street. His skin begins to melt and burn under the intense heat. He turns with difficulty and extends his hand. With his face disfigured, he stares at his own phone lying on the ground. The group inside the hotel hears the screams of agony through the call. The phone falls to the ground, but the screams continue echoing through the call. On the other end of the line, Wang Dehai shouts Xiao Dao's name. Meanwhile, in a luxury room, the air conditioning keeps the temperature stable. The spacious environment, with an indoor pool, remains completely isolated from the chaos. In the room, Su Chun lies on a large bed, covered up. He continues sleeping peacefully, undisturbed. Due to the sudden release of heat from the moon, the external temperature rises to 75 degrees. With the event resulting in nearly 100 casualties, people are advised to stay indoors. At the city's power station, electrical equipment begins to short-circuit. Moments later, a massive explosion destroys the entire facility. Back at the hotel, the attempt to call Xiao Dao results in a message saying the number is unavailable. Wang Dehai realizes that his driver didn't survive and is informed that all the other rooms are occupied. Jiang Shaoqian refuses to share a room with a man, and Li Na agrees with her. The ceiling light in the room suddenly begins to flicker. Then, the power goes out, and Wang Dehai wonders what's happening with the place. With the air conditioning, the city's electrical grid exploded in the same way. He knew that all users connected to the city's grid would be affected, and that was exactly why he chose a room with a pool. He also prepared vertical air conditioning units, and in hand, he materializes a hearty meal in front of him. As he gets ready to eat, he decides to have a simple breakfast on the first day of the apocalypse. While eating a piece of meat, he wonders when Chang's opportunity will appear. Suddenly, someone starts banging on the door, shouting for him to open it. When the door opens, a gust of cold air escapes into the hallway. Wang Dehai feels the cold air on his face and wonders if that's air conditioning. Su Chun appears at the door and asks the group if they need anything. Wang Haoyu points inside the room, shouting that there's ice, electricity, and food. The group accuses him of being selfish and demands that he leave the room immediately. Wang Dehai then orders him to give up the room as payment for a debt he owes. He then stomps his foot and threatens to throw him out by force. Su Chun then shoots the ground, right in front of Wang Dehai's foot. The man stops abruptly and stares at him with wide eyes. He warns him that if he takes another step, he'll be dead. The group reacts, questioning where he got the weapon from. Wang Dehai steps back and admits defeat, acknowledging that the young man is tough. Behind him, Jiang Shaoqian and Wang Haoyu turn away. Suddenly, everyone falls to the ground, and Jiang Shaoqian complains of pain in her leg. He looks down at them and asks if they want to die. Su Chun, in the midst of a crowd, people begin to argue about sharing supplies. A scream catches Gao Chong's attention, and he turns when he hears that Su Chun is killing someone. Gao Chong recognizes the gunshot wound and concludes that there is a dangerous person upstairs. In the crowd, Jiang Shaoqian reveals that Su Chen's room has electricity and air conditioning. People doubt her, but she discusses something with him. The group asks to enter and cool off, while a child spots the fried chicken. A basket with fried chicken and fries is. They shout that someone like him doesn't deserve to stay in that room and demand that he leave. A man points at Su Chun and encourages everyone to move forward together against him. In the middle of the crowd, a man suddenly rolls his eyes and freezes. Then he falls backward, completely unconscious. The men next to him look at the fallen body on the ground. Su Chun points the gun at the crowd and warns them. She and Li Na beg to enter, offering to do anything he wants. Su Chun opens the door, comments on the love between sisters, and invites them inside. The two celebrate, and Jiang Shaoqian says she knew he wouldn't abandon her. Wang Haoyu then charges forward, shoving the girls aside and yelling that he's going to kill Su Chun. With his hand raised, Su Chun warns that anyone who steps through that door. He then strikes a man's body on the ground with a heavy object. The impact sends the three of them flying back into the hallway. The weapon hits the floor with a loud thud, and he asks if anyone else wants to try. Jiang Shaoqian and Li Na hold Wang Haoyu back, insisting that they won't enter. Su Chun then gives them a direct order to leave. He watches from his room as Wang Haoyu crawls down the hallway, calling out for Xiaozhan. From his room, Su Chun closely observes the situation outside. He then prepares a large automatic turret, knowing that staying inside could be fatal. Meanwhile, the treads of a vehicle approach the hotel. An armored vehicle stops in front, and people identify it as the rescue team. With the vehicle stopped, everyone believes it has come to rescue them. 3 soldiers in protective suits step out of the armored vehicle, and the crowd cheers, believing they are saved. One of the soldiers asks everyone to step aside and inquires about the location of academic Lu Jingua. A man identifies himself as Lu, but the rest of the people question why they haven't come to rescue everyone. The soldier explains that a larger rescue operation will take place at midnight at the nearest rescue point. The crowd celebrates the news, relieved that they haven't been abandoned, determined to find out who's in the room. Jiang Shaoqian smiles, waiting for the chance to stay in the room after Su Chen's death. The soldier moves forward alone through the silent hallway. He then notices a small camera hidden in a plant pot. The door to the room slowly opens. An object is thrown out of the room toward him. Exposure to the morning moonlight still caused fainting on the way to the rescue. Lu Xiaofeng explains that there's no other way, but that thick blankets can increase the survival rate. Su Chen grabs him and asks if that's true, and the soldier confirms. He then points the gun to the back of Lu Xiaofeng's head. The soldier begs for a moment to warn his team about the blankets before he dies. He warns that, once activated, no one except him will survive. He then adds that, in the current situation, the soldier probably doesn't have time to deal with him. Lu Xiaofeng simply says that he understands. Outside, people comment on the soldier's departure, noting that his weapons were confiscated. Gao Chang curses the outcome of the events. He then attacks Mr. Sun, questioning his usefulness for not acting sooner. Gao Chang tells his men to leave but explains to one of them that they still need Mr. Sun's connections. Su Chen appears and comments on Gao Chang's attempt to restore order amid the chaos. 2 of Gao Chang's men threaten the young man, but their boss tells them to wait. Gao Chang stares at him and asks why he came down. Su Chen, his men also cool off with the ice, while one of them suggests accepting the deal and killing him afterward. Suddenly, Mr. Sun kicks one of the men and accuses Gao Chang of hiding the ice cubes. He then steps on the fallen man's head and threatens him. Gao Chang stares up at him, saying nothing. Mr. Sun sits down and comments that they've also run out of instant noodles. He then turns to Duanya and comments on her modesty for not taking her clothes off. With a smile, he grabs her wrist and invites her to go with him. Duanya pushes him away and screams for him not to touch her. The man threatens her, saying that everyone will have their fun with her once he's finished. He then rips her shirt and offers to help her get rid of her clothes. A voice from the shadows suddenly emerges, telling Mr. Sun that enough is enough. Mr. Sun yells at Gao Chang, demanding to know who he thinks he's talking to. Gao Chang was the boss in the past life. 2 men with severe burns are lying on the ground. Kneeling, Jiang Shaoqian and Li Na beg him to give them what he has, promising to do anything. Gao Chang then turns the ice bucket over his own head. He throws the bucket at the girls and tells them that if they want cold water, they should follow him and obey him. In a room, the 2 girls fight over a bottle of water, while a man explains that they'll have to manage on their own. Another man questions why they're taking care of exploiters, but Gao Chang the group. With a large sword, he orders everyone to get out of the way. The long-haired man questions if he intends to face those creatures. Gao Chang then decides to let him fight and then kill him afterward. Su Chen explains that the bodies exposed to sunlight undergo mutations, but they're not zombies and are more like the dry demons. And that's why he also refers to them as dry demons. The 2 dry demons prepare to attack Su Chen. He explains that these creatures retain some memories and attachments from their past lives. One of them was probably killed by Gao Chang, which led it to cling to the desire for revenge. And Wang Dehai bears that the opportunity is here. With a single strike, he splits the creature's head in half. From within it, a crystal core emerges, capable of granting a superhuman physique. The remaining demon charges, screaming that the item now belongs to it. Suchun grabs the core and says the rest is up to them. He heads up if he really wants meat. He says the decision is up to the other man, while his men hold Lina, and he offers a knife. The other young woman, while he apologizes for the accident. Suchun explains that his resources are limited and that he cannot simply take her in just because she is pretty. Duanya then states that she is an excellent medical graduate with 3 years of experience as a surgeon. He acknowledges that being a doctor is tempting, but resources are scarce, and she offers to do anything to stay. Suchun then tells her to consider this place her home, and the young woman realizes that she spoke too hastily. But he warns her that her only option is to behave and not have any ulterior motives. She agrees, saying that she understands and never doubts his methods and determination. He then orders her to Jiang Shaoqian claims that the meat was delicious and gave her strength. She charges toward him, shouting that she can't wait to taste him. With a single kick, he sends her flying into the air. She then crashes through the glass ceiling, shattering it into pieces. The sunlight hits Jiang Shaoqian's body. Hanging outside the building, she screams about how hot it is. Gao Chong then orders everyone to attack together to prevent him from drawing his weapon. Suchun questions if he really needs to waste bullets on them. One of the transformed men jumps at him, saying not to be underestimated. But Suchun points a gun at his head and says he enjoys wasting. The men scatter and charge at him. One of them boasts that they are now stronger and that even their reaction and speed have improved. Another claims that in a guard situation he can't even hit them. The long-haired man then prepares to attack. Suchun grabs his fist and asks if he's finished talking. The demonic creature roars in response. Duanya comments that Suchun is amazing for defeating Gao Chong's gang on his own, but she realizes that the monster gives off a very dangerous aura. Then, she decides she needs to find a way to help him, so she doesn't become a burden. She notices something ahead of her. The young woman then calls out to Suchun. Holding a whip, she offers to help him defeat the monster. He questions the gatherer that even the tongue regenerates, and by the 16th, the internal organs too. He questions why she couldn't regenerate after 21 times, while the creature asks, why? She then completes the question, asking for what reason. Suchun simply asks why she is asking. After a brief moment of remembrance, he reveals that the reason is the creature's body. Duanya approaches and asks Suchun if he's alright. He turns to her and asks if she's ready. The young woman, confused, questions, ready for what? Suchun then grabs her, saying he was heroic and that she should be ready to reward him. At a rescue point, someone comments that the outside temperature seems to be normalizing. A woman then wonders if the approaching crowd to leave, while her men beg her not to die. Elsewhere, Suchun says how many more times this will happen. He explains that, before the extreme hypothermia ends, he needs to leave unforgettable memories with her, and the young woman asks if she can go with him. Suchun then imposes that the people around him must be valuable and obey his orders, and she agrees. He realizes that Duanya has completely submitted to him. Outside, he says he needs to return before the seawater advances. He recalls that, in his previous life, the zombies' obsession with the rescue point led them to form a wave that killed many civilians and soldiers. This incident also spread many military weapons, leading to the formation of several factions. A group of armed men then appears in front of the car and orders him to stop. Suchun questions if they're crazy for trying to stop and rob him at that moment. He then, by the vehicles from the heat, gave way to the zombie wave, causing the subway station to collapse and killing thousands. He observes that the zombies below are drawn to the noise of the car, but it would take too long to retrieve the crystals from their heads. So, he decides to check the situation at the university first, remembering that it's his first time back since graduation. His destination is how he has chicken thighs and demanding that he hand them over. With a slight smile, he prepares to act. He then drops the chicken thigh from his hand. The food falls to the ground right in the middle of the group. The hungry men immediately begin fighting each other for the food. They all desperately chicken thighs. The leader of the group screams angrily for his men to grab him for daring to deceive them. Suchun then points a gun directly at them. Leaving the bodies behind, he climbs the stairs, wondering if his memory. After a moment, he finally declares that he has found what he was looking for. A group of armed men advances down the corridor, and the leader yells for anyone hiding to come out. Suchun appears at the door, saying that it's a critical moment and he cannot be disturbed by them. He then notices a movement coming from behind the group. Suddenly, a woman leaps from her hiding place, surprising the armed man. She jumps in the air to attack the group of men. With agile movement, she wraps two of them with her arms and legs, taking them down simultaneously. She continues with her legs, questioning why she can't twist his neck. He remains motionless, and the woman asks what he is doing. Holding her gun, he simply asks who she is. The woman is now tied to a chair and demands to know what's going on. She introduces herself as Baitsong, the fool, used students as hostages, and stole her weapons. Baitsong confirms that, during the zombie horde attack, he claims that it seems he can't untie her. He explains that he has his own matters to resolve and can only provide her with some fire support. Su-chun tells her to hurry up and leave, while Baitsong reveals her plan to attack their hideout to recover the looted goods. She then comments that this might be the only time they meet and asks about the supplies. He then says that Xiaofeng is his brother and allows her to help him, interrupting their meeting. One of the men questions how he got in, as more than 20 people were guarding out, and says that his injury looks serious and that he needs to examine it. The young man shows the wound, and Su-chun explains that it was caused by cannibals and could be fatal of medicine, saying that should be enough. Surprised, Xiaofeng asks where he got so many medicines, and Baitsong Liu Xiaofeng says he owes him a favor but no. The young man finds her hanging from a crane, while the man introduces himself as Steel Fong from the Federal Evolution X Department. Steel Fong stares down at him and asks if he's Su-chun, as he expected someone with 3 heads and 6 arms. Su-chun identifies him as being from the Federal Evolution X Department. He tells Su-chun that he will join her soon and offers to show him the technology of the Federal Evolution Department. Steel Fong explains that all it takes is applying a powder on himself for the monsters to obey him. Su-chun deduces that applying ash behind the monster is just sniffing her, not attacking. The young woman deduces that maybe it can't see. She feels relieved, but knows that any sound could trigger an attack. Duanya then stretches out her arm slowly, trying to reach the other weapon on the wall. Her hand gets closer and closer to the weapon. She stretches as far as she can to grab it, but the creature turns toward her, and she's not useless. The monster falls defeated onto a table. The young woman laments that Su-chun didn't see that she's not useless. Baitsong also asks for help from her brother, Bai Ming, to bring his troops and ensure everyone's safety. In the university's laboratory, the snake Su-chun had a special interest in also begins its mutation. He watches her and says he wants to see how far she can evolve. Then, the creature is now a giant dragon, and he comments that it would have been a disaster if he had waited for the flood to deal with her. He summons a sword and says that since she has submitted to him, she can be considered his pet. But the creature tries to flee by breaking a window, and he realizes she's developed intelligence. The creature then roars to devour him, far away if she's still watching. He asks Baitsong if she can't stay away from the young man named Su-chun, and she tells him to be quiet. Bai Ming says he's doomed if he stays there, but she assures him that he won't die. She remembers the first time she saw him, feeling that he was as strong as a monster, and says they will definitely meet again. Back in the fight, Su-chun asks the creature if she really thinks that will trap him. A narration explains that the extreme heat weakened people's will, and the flood that swept across the world destroyed civilization. Cities in the interior, like Xanadu, were not spared from the devastation, and the lowlands of the engineering university were submerged. Meanwhile, Su-chun, immersed in the flood, confirms that absorbing the Golden King Serpent's crystal has given him a new ability. His body has developed small scales, being all sticky, making her turn around in surprise. With axe in hand, Duanya asks who's there. Su-chun appears and comments that it wasn't a bad idea for her to grab a weapon to protect herself. Surprised, she recognizes him and calls his name. She then hugs him tightly, saying that she was very worried about him. During the hug, the young woman asks what he's pressing against her. She complains that he's without clothes again, and he explains that the water was dirty and that he's going to take a bath. Already in the bathtub, he comments on how good the water feels. He reflects that you only realize the value of home when you leave, while she watches him from the water. Su-chun then asks if she's awakened any abilities. She asks him if he saw, and he wonders if that's his mental power. The young woman realizes that if it weren't for his consent, she would have passed out the moment she tried to influence him. He comments that her ability is very good and says that now it's time for the next stage. Su-chun then warns that he will make her practice until her legs are weak. The next morning, the day breaks over the hotel. With a weapon in hand, Duanya starts shooting. Her shots hit and destroy the tentacle creatures. Su Chun instructs her from behind, telling her to focus her mind, control her thoughts, and aim. He then informs her that he's giving her half a day to familiarize herself with her abilities and asks her about the medical university. The young man warns that she will be coming with him next, as it's time to show her usefulness.
Navigating through a flooded city, Duanya asks Su Chen if it is okay to dress like that, but he reassures her, saying no one can do anything to her. Then she questions him if he has ever been to the University of Science and Technology before. Su Chen confirms he went to see a friend and wonders if he survived. Duanya comforts him, saying good people have good luck. The vessel stops in front of a ruined structure. She announces that they have arrived at their destination. The boat docks in front of the University of Science and Technology. Su Chen observes the location carefully. Unexpectedly, shots are fired from the wall in their direction. He quickly pulls her close, using his body as a shield. A man appears on the wall and questions who they are and what they are doing there. Pork and asks him to open the gate. The leader of the fugitives reacts with surprise upon seeing the real roast pork. Then he orders Lu Tao to open the gate quickly, as he has not seen meat for a long time. The large fortress gate begins to open for them. At the dock, the man orders them to park the boat and hand over the food to him, while Lu Tao questions what to do with the meat. The leader of the fugitives shouts that the food is all his. He decides to let them in because of the meat, but plans to send Su Chen to the laboratory later. Lu Tao introduces himself and offers to show them the way. He explains that since everyone will live at the base, it is fair that they help each other. While guiding them, he says that the lower floors are for the weaker ones, and he will take them to a clean room upstairs. Lu Tao turns to a child who stumbled and asks why she cannot walk properly, and she replies that she is a little dizzy. Duanya kneels down and asks the girl where her parents are discovering that they went out to look for food and did not return. She then offers a piece of bread to the child. The girl asks if by eating the bread the bunny sister will not be hungry. Surprised by the nickname, Su Chen assures the child that the bunny sister will never go hungry. But the little girl claims he is lying because nowadays everyone is hungry. Su Chen materializes a pot of food and states that they can doubt his character, but not his strength. A table full of food appears and mention of other people. A group approaches and the leader shouts that it is against the rules to hoard food because everything must be handed over and exchanged for contribution points. He then adds that he does not remember anyone exchanging food in the last few days and asks who is breaking the rules. Duanya calms the frightened child in her arms and assures them that she will talk to them so they behave. A man announces that if he loses, he will throw the 3 siblings into the water to feed the ghouls. Ji questions if her sincerity is not enough. Then she removes part of her clothing and asks what he thinks of that. Tianyue reacts to her attitude and questions Su Chen's taste. She stares at him intently. Suddenly, a smoke bomb explodes at the location. Tianyue warns that the captain is trying to escape in the smoke. But a hand emerges and grabs her face. Su Chen holds her firmly and asks if she thought it would be easy to run away. She begs him not to kill her, reminding him of the girl he saved who was now taken to the arena with her brothers. He just stares at her and asks what about it. Then Su Chen throws her away, telling her to disappear. Tianyue asks about the girl she mentioned, and Miao Puyuan explains that the guards must have taken Xiaomei and her brothers. Miao Puyuan asks Tianyue what to do, mentioning that the giant rats might kill them. Su Chen repeats the word rats. He decides to go check the situation if he will really let them go. Chief Lu replies yes, as long as she can survive. A giant rat appears in the arena right behind Xiaomei. She turns to the side. The animal run away. In a memory, one of her brothers shows the mushrooms he found, while he yells for him to spit them out. At another moment, the 2 brothers promise that upon completing the task, they will earn points so they will no longer go hungry. In a memory, the brothers ask Xiaomei to behave and wait for them to eat something delicious. Back in the present, they yell for her to run away and live well without worrying about them. Chief Liu smiles and orders them to be silenced. Then the wooden support under one of their feet is kicked away. The 2 brothers are completely suspended in the air. Xiaomei screams their names. She jumps onto the back of the giant rat that was attacking her. The girl raises a broken piece of wood. Then she stabs the stake into the creature's eye. The animal recoils and she moves away. Xiaomei runs and tells her brothers that she came to save them. She then yells for them to hold on tight, but the giant rat lunges at her again. The creature's paw hits her directly in the back. Chief Liu comments on the ridiculous scene and says that trash like them should not be alive. Xiaomei is lying on the ground calling for her brothers as the giant rat approaches. Her brothers struggle on the gallows and question why this is happening since they only wanted to live. She begs for help and asks who could save them. Suddenly, Su Chen appears and strikes the creature. The animal's head explodes with the impact. Xiaomei. The older brother thanks Xiaomei, saying that she was the one who saved them. But the girl next to Duanya corrects him and says that it was Su Chen who saved them. Somewhere else, someone barefoot steps out of a pool of liquid. A man asks Captain G if the young man down there is the special research material, and she confirms that his genes can resolve the instability of the apocalypse genes. Chief Lu reveals that those rats were created with the latest technology to be bigger and fiercer. The man observes the situation from afar. He then states that if Su-Chen dies there, he does not deserve to be his special experiment material. The creatures advance but are instantly struck down by blades flying towards them. Tianyue questions he needs. Chief Lu warns Tianyue that the boss has spoken and he is finished. The man on the microphone states that it does not matter if Su-Chen is alive or dead. Miao Puyuan asks Duanya to leave quickly, because if she does not go now, she will not be able to later. She replies that she will not go anywhere while Su-Chen is there. Chief Lu addresses Tianyue, reminding him that they are brothers, but only survive thanks to the boss, and asks who he will choose. Su-Chen approaches and asks Tianyue what is happening. He explains that the man up there is Liu Heiyun, who developed a drug to strengthen people and thus control the university. But the drug demands life force in exchange for power, and without it, they become weaker than anyone. Su-Chen then asks if he would be willing to go with him, case he had a solution. Tianyue apologizes, saying he has no choice. Boss Liu celebrates the fact of seeing brothers turning against each other. He rushes the decision, reminding that time is running out and the boss is waiting. Then Boss Liu jumps towards Su-Chen to attack him, but someone lands hard on the ground. Tianyue hits Boss Liu with a kick, shouting that he does not want to choose. The impact of the kick throws Boss Liu far away. Tianyue stands up while his opponent calls him by name. Boss Liu questions him if he dares to betray the boss. Tianyue replies that the boss only wants to control him with the drug. He states that he has nothing to lose and that if he has to die, he will die. Su-Chen watches the scene while Tianyue completes that if anyone dares to touch his brother. With determination, he declares that he will fight them to the death. Boss Liu stands up and advances to the attack, promising to crush them all together. But Tianyue states that he alone is far from enough. Several blades hit Boss Liu's body. He reveals that the boss already knew about the betrayal, and that is why he gave him the level 1 drug while he used the level 2 one. Tianyue reacts to the mention of a level 2 drug. Boss Liu claims that his fat is the strongest defense and that no one can hurt him. He then attacks with his 2 hammers. Tianyue manages to hold the blow with his own hands. Boss Liu smiles while Tianyue struggles to hold his hammers. He then orders Tianyue to die. Boss Liu presses a button on the handle of one of the weapons. Tianyue realizes that the meteor hammer is electrified. The discharge hits him squarely. But Su-Chen steps on the hammer and says he heard. He kicks the weapon, making the handle hit Boss Liu's face. Su-Chen hits him with another kick and questions if no one can really hurt him. Tianyue watches the scene. Duanya and Miao Puyuan also look at the fight. Up there, Liu Heiyun follows the confrontation. Boss Liu is run through by an energy discharge. He falls defeated to the ground while Su-Chen approaches. Liu Heiyun watches from the window and says he is increasingly intrigued. He reveals that he spent all his resources to find a way to evolve humans into perfect beings. Su-Chen's recent display of strength proved his worth, and now he offers him the chance to become the first perfect human. Su-Chen asks if when he says perfect human, he means a rat. Liu Heiyun confirms that he guessed his main research direction, since rat genes are the closest to humans. He then explains that he will use the genes to create an illusion, and that he will show him. Then Captain G fires a projectile with her weapon. The dart passes close to Su-Chen's face, and hits the body of Boss Liu, who was lying on the ground. With that, his body begins to undergo a mutation. Tianyue and the others are surprised to see his body undergo a mutation. Duanya questions what kind of research those people are doing. Liu Heiyun's voice explains that Boss Liu is a sumo wrestler, and his fat makes him resistant to blows. Combined with the level 3 drug, which increases his strength and heals him, Su-Chen will be no match for him. Liu Heiyun then asks if he now sees the greatness of evolution. The creature advances to the attack. Su-Chen stares back at him. The monster delivers a blow that hits the ground but misses the target. Duanya shouts for Su-Chen to be careful. Then he asks them to give him the power. Su-Chen extends his hand and orders the energy to stop. He holds the creature and questions if they think that putting a pair of batteries in a weapon can kill someone. His hand then begins to absorb the opponent's energy. Su-Chen tells him to taste the batteries too. Then he shoves the object into the creature's mouth, and the item explodes inside. Su-Chen remains standing while a large explosion occurs right behind him. Tianyue asks if the creature is dead. Liu Heiyun comments on the use of battery explosions to cause damage, but he reminds that the level 3 drug has a strong healing capacity and the monster regenerates. Liu Heiyun claims that before the power of evolution, he is totally impotent. Su-Chen jumps towards the creature, finding that annoying. He then delivers a powerful punch that hits the monster squarely. The impact sinks him into the ground, which begins to crack under the force of the continuous blows. He reflects that it is better not to let others see how he uses his superpowers. Duanya comments that the dust is blocking the view. Liu Heiyun watches and wonders what exactly he is planning. Su-Chen jumps again, noting that Liu Heiyun's research is impressive since the opponent keeps recovering. Suchen states that his space does not only contain supplies. He reveals that he also prepared many secret weapons while large debris appears in the air. Then the debris falls directly onto the creature. Tianyue asks what that noise is. Liu Heiyun watches and wonders what he is up to now. Amidst the dust, Suchen is sitting on top of a huge pile of rubble. Duanya and the others look at the scene. Tianyue questions if that is a pile of cement and steel, and if the fat man is buried under the rubble. Liu Heiyun calls him a scoundrel. He shouts that he does not care who he is or where he got that trash, and that he will make him have no place to be buried. He tells him to look around, warning that all of them are already dead. Suchen snaps his finger, says that it is perfect, and that he also does not plan to let any of them leave. Duanya warns that they are surrounded. Tianyue recognizes that they are the people who went to the laboratory, now transformed into rat men. Suchen states that his target is Liu Heiyun up there, because without defeating him, this will never end. Then he says that he will leave the rest to them. He reminds her that if she loses her value, she will not have the right to stay by his side, and she guarantees that she will keep everything under control. Suchen says goodbye and warns her to call him out loud if she cannot handle the situation. Duanya takes a step forward. She then calls everyone's attention. She prepares to control the rat men, even though inside the tanks various monstrous creatures are submerged. He approaches one of the tanks. Suchen is surprised to see Yun Yun inside the tank and wonders how she got there. He remembers the encounter they had at the bar and that he did not expect to find her again. Then he decides that he needs to save her first. He removes her from the tank and holds her in his arms. The girl opens her eyes and asks if he is Suchen. He confirms and reassures her, saying that he will take her out of there. She then whispers that she is hungry. Suchen observes her and repeats the word hungry. A voice emerges from an opening door and orders him to let her go. A projectile advances at high speed towards them. He raises his hand to block the attack while holding her. Liu Heiyun orders him to take his filthy hands off the woman he chose. Suchen questions the ice abilities and asks if he thinks he is buying merchandise. Liu Heiyun states that ordinary people are ants and that being his woman is an honor for her. He holds her and comments that Liu Heiyun is truly the lunatic that rumors say. Then the girl hugs him and asks him not to leave. She says that she is scared, and Suchen promises that he will not. Liu Heiyun orders him to let her go. He then advances, shouting that she is his woman, and asks if he heard. Suchen dodges the attack, finding it noisy. Liu Heiyun continues to attack him with his powers, but something surprises him. Then Suchen kisses her. Their lips remain united. After the kiss, she says that this is what he owes her for leaving her last time. The girl falls asleep in his arms and he calls her to wake up. Liu Heiyun questions how he dares to do that and says that in that case, all of them will go to hell together. His body then begins to undergo a great transformation. Already transformed, he states that he will now show them the power of a god. Suchen just holds the sleeping girl in his arms. Suchen asks the girl to rest a little and eat a chocolate that he offers her. He turns to face his opponent. Liu Heiyun warns him, saying that getting distracted at a moment like that is asking to die. But Suchen blocks the creature's attack with just one arm. He then asks if that was all. While eating, the girl asks if the people down there are his friends. He confirms that they are. She says that she will not eat his things for free. Then she warns that she will take care of the people down there and jumps out the window. In the fall, she warns him to be careful because Liu Heiyun is not easy to kill. She continues falling from the top of the building and dives towards the crowd of rat men in the arena. During the fall, her body begins to increase in size. She lands with an impact on the ground, scaring Duanya and Tianyue. Already giant, she complains that her butt hurts, while Duanya wonders if she is seeing things, and Tianyue questions if that is a woman. A giant woman appears over the arena while people wonder how she suddenly appeared. She takes a step forward and Tianyue shouts not to step on his head. Her foot then crushes one of the rat men on the ground. She looks down and wonders what those things are. Then she realizes that they are rats climbing the building and running on the ground. The creatures begin to attack the people in the arena. The giant woman screams for help upon seeing the enormous quantity of rats. She starts stomping uncontrollably, and Tianyue shouts for her to stop while the others run not to be crushed. Back in the laboratory, Suchen states that he already knew. Someone observes the scene through the window and comments that Yun Yun really has a powerful ability. Suchen notices small creatures approaching on the wall. They cover his body, but he comments that he is not so easy to kill. The creatures completely envelop him, forming a kind of cocoon around him. The mass of creatures continues to grow and merge around him. Suddenly, a large, monstrous hand emerges from the top of that mass. A huge creature with wolf features appears amidst the smoke. Liu Heiyun comments that that is practically an immortal body. In the arena, Tianyue is startled to see an army of rat men emerging from the water. The creatures then howl in unison. All of them look up in the direction of the building. The creature on top of the building stares back at them. Miao Puyuan questions if that monster is the king of rats. Then the entire army of rats kneels at the same time. They are worshipping the king of rats high up on the building. Yun Yun, now in her normal size, rips a piece of metal from a chair. She advances on the rats, ordering them to get out of her way. The girl faces the crowd of creatures and asks the filthy rat where Su Chen is. The king of rats, with his back to her, replies that he has already left. He then turns around and threatens her, saying that she is asking to die for speaking to him that way. The rats around Yun Yun prepare for the attack. Duanya, Tianyue, and Miao Pu Yuan fight the rat men, while she screams for them to hold their position. But Yun Yun is surrounded by smaller rats and warns that there are too many to contain them. From the top of the building, the king of rats declares that with his army he will... Suddenly, a hand emerges from his chest holding a crystal core, and Su Chen's voice says that it took a while to find him. The king of rats questions what is happening, because he should have been completely devoured. Su Chen emerges from the creature's body. The monster stares at him, not believing what he sees. Su Chen holds the crystal core and states that it is now his. One of the rat creatures tries to force its way through the bars. Then they start emerging from pipes and cracks in the floor. The rats quickly surround Tianyue amidst bones and a skull. He screams that those creatures can pass through any crack. Xiaomei's older brother warns them to be careful with the underground drainage. But one of the rats attacks him and bites his leg. He reacts to being bitten. The creatures grab him and start pulling him down while he screams for them to let go. The younger brother and Xiaomei scream for him. He asks them to forget about him and take care of Xiaomei. The creatures drag him into the manhole while he calls the girl's name. The stone lid closes over him. The younger brother screams no. Tianyue comments that there are many of them. Miao Puyuan, surrounded, says he is at his limit and challenges them to advance. Tianyue can barely breathe and says his arms no longer move. Yun Yun starts to shrink and complains that her stomach is rumbling again while the rats climb her. Duanya faces one of the rat creatures and states that it is impossible to stop them. Tianyue looks at the top of the building and says that was something only a god could do. He observes the scene carefully. Then a flag is planted on top of the building. A new creature appears before Duanya. It dissolves and reforms, making Tianyue wonder what that is. The creature then takes the form of the king of rats. The new king of rats faces the army of creatures below, and the army of rats bows before the new figure. Danya wonders if Su Chen failed. The creature approaches her, but a voice coming from the creature tells her not to be afraid because it is him. She recognizes Su Chen's voice. A monstrous hand materializes in the darkness. He explains that the consciousness in the crystal core is still trying to consume him, but he states that in mental strength he will not lose. Tianyue realizes that it is really Su Chen. He tells Tianyue that he worked hard. The army of rats faces their new master. Then Su Chen returns to his human form, surrounded by the creatures. Tianyue screams for him to be careful. With a look, he orders everyone to disappear. The rat creatures start fighting each other. Then the rats flee from him in panic. The army of creatures disperses, fleeing from the small group. They desperately try to escape through the cracks. The creatures pile up in desperation to flee. One of them is left behind and is devoured by the others. Miao Puyuan asks what happened and why the swarm of rats fled. Tianyue wonders if they fled just because Su Chen told them to disappear. Miao Puyuan asks if they managed to survive. Su Chen reflects that even though he is not the king of rats, the remaining power of the crystal core was enough to intimidate them. Suddenly, Tianyue starts coughing. Su Chen supports him and asks if he is okay. Yun Yun explains that the drug gives immense strength, but the more power is used, the deeper the poisoning is. Su Chen then asks what he can do to save him. She reveals that in Liu Heiyun's laboratory there is a corpse, and that its blood can be used to make a serum and neutralize the poison. Su Chen wonders if this is the laboratory that Yun Yun mentioned. In front of a door, he comments on the intense pressure in the place. He feels as if it were a black hole. Then he takes a step forward, crossing the barrier. The young man questions the sensation running through his body, and realizes that he crossed a wall made of mental power. But something catches his attention. Su Chen expected to find a body, but a woman turns in his direction and says he is there. She calls him colleague Liu, but he thinks she must be mistaken. Liu Heiyun greets Professor Xiao but wonders if he is now Liu Heiyun, and if that is an illusion. He decides that he needs to wake up quickly, no matter what it is. The woman invites him to sit down and he agrees. He asks what the professor is doing while she starts taking off her coat. She explains that she is taking off her coat because of the heat, and asks if he knows Saculina, a common parasite in crabs, and continues saying that it is a fascinating creature that coexists with its host while protecting itself. She approaches from behind and asks if it is not interesting. Liu Heiyun agrees that it is really interesting. Then she hugs him, praising his good shape besides his academic performance. With a smile, he questions if she really thinks that. He pulls her onto his lap, commenting that it seems she is not planning to do experiments. But the woman replies that she prefers practical experience over theoretical work. Suddenly, she looks out the window and says that the moon outside looks strange. Then she asks him to close the curtains because of the heat while he wonders when it will end. In another moment, he informs her that the food supplies are running out and he will take care of what is left. But the food bag is almost empty. He questions her if she knows that those supplies are more valuable than her life and research equipment and supplies in his space. The Rat King's crystal core not only enhanced his berserker ability and increased his physical strength, but it also granted him ice abilities, although for now he can only form a small block. Her core granted him 2 mental abilities, but not the illusion one until a noise catches everyone's attention. The first ability is mental perception, which he believes derives from the bloodlust of the mutant corpse. With it, he can read the heat signatures of living creatures within a 30-meter radius and notices an ambush by the Devourers. One of the survivors then points upwards, asking everyone to look. They see a woman hanging from a traffic light and wonder what is happening. A young woman recognizes the victim as her roommate, Rui, and demands they leave someone to die. And she hurries her companion, asking him to help her get the girl down. Together, the two try to lower the pole, assuring the victim that they will certainly save her. Suddenly, 2 spears fly at high speed in their direction, and they hit the 2 men who were trying to help. The girl and her friend react to the sudden scene. She realizes it is a trap as figures jump from the buildings. Then monstrous creatures surround the group. One of the monsters grabs her, saying that with such a kind bait, they could attract many others. Another creature approaches and says to let him see. He asks permission to have fun with her first, but the young woman begs them to let her go. Her friend shouts for the monster to release her, but the larger creature tells him to shut up, and he declares that food must accept its destiny as food. The other monster comments that the woman smells very good and suggests keeping her for reproduction. From afar, Su-chen recognizes the voice and says that little Saint Bitch is causing people to die. Duanya confirms that the woman from before was the bait, and one of the survivors asks if they are safe now. But Su-chen reveals that they are already surrounded by the Devourers. The 2 survivors react to the news. Su-chen claims it is the perfect time to test his latest ability. He then reveals his ability, Corpse Control, and a horde of bodies rises. A voice warns them to be careful of what is behind them. The Devourers turn around and wonder when those mutant bodies appeared there. One of them breaks through the bodies, annoyed at them being in his way, and orders everyone to get out of his way while attacking the horde. From a window, one of the monsters realizes that the prey escaped. Then he orders them to chase the group and not let them escape. But Su-chen states that they are not going to escape anywhere. 2 Devourers find him and decide to kill him first. He regrets that the Devourers do not have crystal cores and decides to let the mutant bodies play with them. The horde of bodies then advances and attacks the 2 monsters. The group finally arrives at the Heicheng safe zone. Duanya introduces herself, saying they are from the University of Science and Technology and are seeking refuge. They look up and see a man with an axe jumping towards them. He lands in a combat pose and sends them away, shouting that they do not accept trash there. Duanya questions him about the right he has to deny them entry to a safe zone. The man stares back at her. He realizes that she is using some kind of trick and calls her useless trash while jumping to attack her with the axe, making her realize that he is an ability user. Someone screams for him to stop, but Lu Xiaofeng steps in front and interrupts the blow. He tells Captain Sun that they are just looking for refuge and there is no need to attack. But the captain suspects they are spies, since ordinary people would not be able to cross the Devourer areas. Su-chen then says that in that case, they will take the dozens of doctors to another safe zone. Captain Sun and his men react to the news, as it is rare for doctors to survive. Lu Xiaofeng recognizes Su-chen's surprise that he is still alive. He then guarantees the captain with his own life that the group is not spies and that Su-chen really has the doctors. Other men also ask the captain to let them in as they need doctors. He agrees, but warns Xiaofeng that he will be responsible for any consequences, relieving the other men. As they enter, Xiaofeng asks Su-chen not to take it personally, but he replies that he does not worry about it. Lu Xiaofeng tells Su-chen that they arrived at the right time, and explains that they have some strange patients who urgently need a doctor's help. Then he pulls a sheet, revealing a woman covered in mushrooms. One of the girls in Su-chen's group asks if those are mushrooms. Lu Xiaofeng says that although they try to clean them, they grow back even faster, making the person weaker and weaker. Su-chen diagnoses the infection as mutant fungi and advises them to warn others not to be pierced by plant sprouts. Duanya asks if the mushrooms are using the person as food, and says she will look for someone to analyze them and create a remedy. He explains that this is just the beginning, and that if the new mutant plants are not eliminated, they will start attacking humans. And when that happens, the Devourer tribes will take the opportunity to attack the safe zones. Suddenly, people scream to get out of the way as a vehicle speeds towards them. The driver yells at the peasants to get out of his way while shooting out the window. Su-chen asks why someone is shooting in a safe zone without the local team doing anything, but the man next to him reveals that the team was dissolved as a condition for letting the refugees in. The Jeep driver notices the arrival of more newcomers in his path. The Jeep skids sharply, throwing people to the side. The driver invites her to get in the car to eat something, but she says she is so hungry that she cannot walk anymore and asks him to carry her. He immediately agrees, saying he would be more than happy to carry her. One of the men tries to stop him, but Su-chen holds him, saying that it is fine as long as he can carry her. The driver positions himself with open arms, announcing that he is ready. She gives a small smile. Then she takes a step forward and steps on the Jeep's fender. She jumps towards him, who waits for her with open arms. And in the air, she transforms into a giant. She crushes him with the impact. The giant then falls to the ground and returns to her normal size. Captain Sun turns around and asks what is happening. Inside a building, Bai Chang questions about the noise he heard. The young driver is on the ground complaining about his leg. Yun Yun approaches him, calling him useless even with the chance he had. His men run to check if the young master is okay. He accuses her of being a monster and of having broken his leg, telling the men to take her away. Duanya then activates her mind control ability. The controlled men state that the young master clearly fell out of the car and broke his leg himself. He accuses them of all being together trying to set him up and threatens to call his father to kill them. Then he screams for help from his father. Captain Sun comments that this will be fun to watch. A luxury car stops at the scene, surrounded by a group of armed men. One of the men regrets that he is really calling the city lord, while Yun Yun comments on his great presence. Then a man in dress shoes gets out of the car and asks what is happening there. Lu Xiaofeng begins to explain that his brother brought dozens of doctors to seek refuge. The young master asks his father to kill them right now because of his leg, but the city lord slaps him hard and scolds him, asking how many times he will have to tell him to treat everyone who arrives with respect. He reminds everyone that his vision is to turn that place into a beacon of hope in this apocalypse. Then he invites them to stay and help build this dream together, promising the best conditions. Lu Xiaofeng turns to Su Chen, saying that now everyone can stay. But he realizes the young man is already gone and wonders where he went. Later, around a campfire, one of them asks why they did not stay in the city. Yun Yun questions if Duanya truly believes that the city lord will not take revenge for his crippled son. The bandaged girl asks Duanya to teach her, since it is her first time leaving the other, without understanding what she is thinking. Duanya replies that who knows if they will even be able to sleep tonight. Su Chen tells the two to stop joking because someone is coming. A group of men appears and one of them comments on Su Chen's vigilance. He then questions if they thought they could run away after breaking the young master's leg. But Su Chen explains that he was not running away, he just did not want to hurt his friend's team. One of the men mocks the idea of a massacre coming from an unarmed boy, and another offers to finish him off. The scene repeats with the same provocation. Then Su Chen advances and punches one of the men. Their leader is startled that he fell with just one blow, and orders his men to shoot, but Su Chen moves quickly among them. The leader begs not to be killed, offering a secret about the city lord in exchange. Su Chen, interested, asks him to continue. The man reveals that the city lord has close ties with the Devourer clan and negotiates with them every week, and explains that the city lord trades the refugees with the Devourers for food. Already in the forest, he confirms that all this is the city lord's doing. A Devourer informs one of the guards that the spoiled food will be thrown at the gates of the safe zone before dawn. Then the creature attacks him, biting his head. Another monster devours one of its victims. The captured man explains that the city lord never leaves witnesses and asks to be freed now that he has told everything. But Su Chen approaches and says that there is still something he can help with. The captured man struggles, hanging, screaming for help to the Devourers below. One of the Devourers wonders why he is hanging there, while the other simply tells him to knock him down and bring him back. The creature attacks him with a punch, declaring that he will be its next meal, and the blow hits the man squarely. Suddenly, Yun Yun appears in her giant form, lamenting that they broke her new toy. The Devourers see her, and one of them warns the others that she is a skill user. She then grabs one of the creatures, declaring that she will make it her new toy. One of the monsters looks up and realizes that there is also an ambush coming from a building. Su Chen analyzes that the Devourers' skulls have mutated and are probably too hard for common bullets. From a window, Duanya decides to test the theory and fires his sniper rifle. The bullets hit 3 Devourers directly in the head. Their leader realizes the tactic of shooting 3 times at the same spot, and the last bullet finally pierces the skull of one of the monsters. The creature Yun Yun was holding tries to escape from her hand, but although he questions if she can hold him, Su Chen intercepts him on the ground. He then places his hand over the Devourer's head and crushes the creature's skull with a single blow. Already in a safe place, Duanya asks him how he found out about the city lord's agreement with the Devourers. Su Chen explains that he just tested some rumors and hit the jackpot, taking a bed and food from his storage space. Duanya suggests that he could simply find another place to build a base instead of getting involved in this. But he reveals that the person he is looking for is inside Hecheng. Suddenly, Yun Yun appears and asks Duanya why the two started without her. Su Chen is confused about what is happening between the two. They then thank him for being able to live as humans again and offer to serve him that night. At dawn, the city lord finds the bald man seriously injured and believes that the agreement with the Devourers went wrong. He then rushes towards the Devourer clan. Arriving there, the city lord finds his men seriously injured. The Devourer leader complains that he lost 3 warriors and demands double the people as compensation. Despite the surprise, he accepts the agreement. Hidden Su Chen observes the scene while the man next to him comments that the city lord does not hesitate to trade people's lives. The man next to the city lord asks Su Chen what he is doing there, and he replies that he came to check the rumors of the alliance. The devourers surround him, accusing him of having killed their men and questioning his audacity to go there alone. Their leader declares that now that Su Chen has stepped into their territory, there is no way out. From afar, the city lord thinks the boy is doomed, but that those who followed him also need to be eliminated. The scene cuts to the Hechang base. Back in the city lord announces to the crowd that there is a traitor in his base, and points to a group accusing the newcomers of being the traitors. He falsely accuses them of kidnapping refugees to trade them for food with the devourers, and the enraged crowd screams to kill them. But General Gao intervenes, guaranteeing that Su Chen is a trustworthy man and that there should be no problems. The city lord challenges him, demanding proof that they are not traitors. From the top of a building, a voice shouts that it can prove it. The city lord looks up and is shocked to see Su Chen, wondering how he is still alive. General Gao also looks up and asks if that boy is Su Chen. Su Chen then appears holding the defeated devourer leader and asks the city lord for an explanation. Both are shocked to recognize the leader, wondering if Su Chen exterminated the entire clan. Su Chen orders the devourer leader to speak loudly so everyone can hear. He then confesses that it was the city lord Zhang who made the deals with him. The crowd reacts shocked to realize they were deceived by the man they supported. But Zhang accuses him of slander, saying that he is working with the devourers to frame him. General Gao then approaches and calls him by name Zhang Jianshu, and hits him with a punch to the face, calling him a monster. Zhang starts laughing and admits it was him, explaining that the places with supplies are now controlled by the devourers. He justifies himself to the general, saying that he is doing something good by sacrificing a few to feed many. But another punch hits him while a voice calls him a coward. Su Chen states that although trading lives for food is not necessarily wrong, it is the choice of a coward. General Gao declares that they simply refuse to be cowards. Then Su Chen invites them to build together a new base that truly belongs to humanity and civilization. From escaping, Zhang Jianshu transforms into a muscular creature and shouts that he will kill Su Chen. Already distant, Su Chen concludes that the rumors of his past life were right and that he is a level 2 devourer. The creature claims that the next time they meet, he will not be so lucky. A man announces to the group that the supermarket with the supplies mentioned by Su Chen is just ahead. The team captain reinforces that the objective is to eliminate the Devourer tribe and take the supplies to the new base. Then he orders the attack and his men advance, but they stop, surprised by what they find. One of the men reports that all the Devourers have already been killed. A soldier informs the captain that the supplies are on the truck and there is enough fuel to return. Another soldier comments that Su Chen was not lying and that there really was a load of supplies there. The captain complains that the mission was too easy, while his subordinate mentions that the general gave the important mission to Su Chen. The scene changes to a radio tower. Yun asks Duan Ya why that stupid captain has not returned yet. Duan Ya explains that Su Chen had already killed the Devourers a long time ago, and all they needed to do was drive the truck. Yun says she is not worried about him, but about the people starving because Su Chen asked them to take care of the refugees. Duan Ya warns that they are arriving and that they can return, but it will be difficult to use mental power to camouflage her size when they are close. The captain informs General Gao that the supplies have been delivered. The refugees realize that Su Chen can really solve their food problem, but the captain still underestimates him, believing that he is only good at brainwashing. A soldier arrives running and reports that there is activity of a tribe of devourers near a hospital to the south. The captain decides that it is his chance to show everyone who is the true protector of the people. A woman asks if they are going to invade the arsenal. Another explains that there is a military base nearby, but the entrance is flooded and probably full of mutant bodies. Su Chen asks her to take him to the arsenal, and she agrees, but warns that they will need a vehicle. He states that getting a vehicle is easy, and uses his power to materialize a car, leaving the other two surprised. Su Chen tells them to stop talking and get in the car to leave. The vehicle then speeds off. Elsewhere, men try to pump water but complain that it is never enough. An older man orders them to take useless items and throw them as bait for the water scavengers. They then force other people to enter the water, who scream for help as they are thrown in. The group leader announces that the water scavengers have been attracted and offers a woman as a reward for whoever opens the door. A man in the crowd decides to take the risk since he had nothing before the apocalypse. Another man also enters the water, determined to try his luck. Hidden Lu Xiaofeng observes that the city lord's army is also eyeing the supplies and weapons of the base. Bai Kong tells Su Chen that she knows a way to avoid the army, but they will need to dive, and he agrees with the plan. Then the three dive into the water to cross. Bai Kong looks around while swimming, but she notices several pairs of eyes watching them in the darkness. She realizes that they are the water scavengers and that she is running out of air. Su Chen approaches and tells her not to be afraid, leaving her surprised that he can speak underwater. Then he holds her and kisses her. She understands that he is giving her oxygen. Her eyes widen with the realization. They are now completely surrounded by the water scavengers. The creatures advance to attack the group. Baikang clings to Suchen underwater, but she finds it strange because there is no movement. She realizes that the water scavengers have stopped moving. She looks around confused by the situation. Then she turns to Suchen, wondering if it was him who caused that. She wonders if he is controlling the water scavengers. With the monsters paralyzed, he holds her and tells her to get ready to hunt. A group of water scavengers emerges, advancing towards them. They swim towards Suchen, but he instructs them to go up first while holding one of the monsters, and starts fighting the creatures underwater. Baikang and Lu Xiaofeng swim to the surface and emerge gasping. They look at the water, wondering how Suchen can control the scavengers and how many skills he still hides. Then Suchen comes out of the water. He shows a small crystal core, complaining about the low drop rate from so many monsters. Baikang scolds him for complaining after getting such a white core so quickly, and Lu Xiaofeng adds that the core can strengthen him. A small black cat with bright eyes appears watching the core. Suddenly, the cat lunges and grabs the crystal from his hand. The group wonders why there is a cat there. Baikang supposes that the base probably had cats to control rats, and that this one survived the apocalypse. But she also notes that the animal is impressive for having managed to take the core from Suchen's hand. Suchen offers a fish treat to the cat in exchange for the core, but the animal takes the treat and runs away with the core. The cat runs down a corridor, leaving the core behind. Suchen gets annoyed for being tricked by a cat twice, but recognizes that nothing that survives the apocalypse is ordinary. He then opens a power box, and the corridor lights turn on, revealing that the power system is still working. The group advances down the corridor towards the arsenal. Suchen explains that before the flood, the survivors evacuated in a hurry, but they probably did not have time to take all the supplies with them. They arrive at the arsenal, which has enough to arm a force of 500 people. Lu Xiaofeng gets excited about the possibility of arming 1,000 people if they find a tank. Baikang warns him to be careful and then wonders how they will carry all that back. And she remembers that the city lord's troops can appear at any moment. Suddenly, something falls from the ceiling. Lu Xiaofeng shouts from inside a tank, saying that he found one. He shouts that a monster is chasing him and asks for help. Suchen and Baitang react to the creature's appearance. The monster fires a burst of energy, and the projectile hits the tank directly. Suchen watches the tank, but Suchen picks her up, saying he needs to ensure she returns safely since the supplies are with her. The monster fires another energy blast in their direction, but Suchen jumps away, escaping the explosion. The explosion completely destroys the tank. Baikang tells Suchen to stop wasting time and go check on Xiaofeng while she takes care of the mutant beast. Suchen puts her down and she runs towards the rubble, shouting for him not to die. He then turns to face the monster, commenting that he does not remember hearing about a creature like that in his past life. But he states that it does not matter because her crystal core will be his anyway. A group of men observes something on the ceiling of a cave. Outside, one of them comments that the explosion seems to have come from inside the base. Another man informs the boss that the water level is dropping rapidly and the explosion must have cracked something. The boss realizes that someone entered before them and orders his men to kill them. But the men are distracted by something else, and one of them suggests they eat the rabbit first. A rabbit with a sinister smile appears among the bushes. The boss finds it strange that the rabbit seems to be smiling. Suddenly, the rabbit opens its mouth in a terrifying way, and the men are enveloped by a strange force. The boss's eye widens, and he begins to smile sinisterly. Suchen prepares a punch and hits the monster in front of him directly. The creature then opens its mouth to counterattack, but Suchen dodges the attack. Suchen lands on the ground after dodging the attack. He comments that, as expected, the bodies of level 2 creatures are hard as steel, and compares it to Zhang Zhenshu, who survived the explosion without a scratch, realizing that his own strength is still insufficient. The monster attacks again with a hand strike, but Suchen states that this does not mean he cannot handle the situation. He prepares to deal with the parasitic vine rooted in the creature's brain. The monster then launches its vines towards him and manages to trap him. The creature pulls him close, preparing an attack, and fires a large energy blast. But Suchen uses his spatial jump to escape, realizing that it will not be as easy as he thought. He then hears a meow and recognizes the cat from before. The cat advances towards him and transforms into a large panther. Suchen is surprised, asking if the animal is also a mutant beast. Baikang shouts for Xiaofeng amidst the tank rubble and asks him to say something if he can hear her. He replies that he is fine because he managed to dodge in time not to be crushed. She then says she will get him out of there immediately. A sharp-toothed smile appears in the darkness. Baikang turns around upon hearing a noise and asks who is there. The group of men who were trying to enter the base appears and asks if she was the one who opened the door. She wonders what those guys are doing there, but realizes that there is something wrong with them. The men stare at her with strange smiles and eyes. Their leader opens his mouth in a wide grin. The panther advances towards the men. and hits one of them with a blow. Su Chen is now standing with the giant creature behind him, and he realizes that it is getting even bigger. Su Chen walks beside the large panther. The creature then stares at the plant monster, showing its claws. He comments that it seems they are mortal enemies after all. Su Chen approaches the panther and accuses her of taking the crystal core to lure them there. He then asks if now that she has seen his strength, she wants to join him. The panther is startled, and he jumps onto its back, saying it will be as she wishes. The animal stares at him with a smile. Then it positions itself, and Su Chen declares that they will fight together. The panther meows in response, and advances towards the monster. The animal stares at the creature. Then it attacks with its claws, tearing the enemy. Su Chen realizes that the attack will not hurt it, and that they need to coordinate. He instructs the panther to use its speed to distract the vines while he takes care of the rest. The creature dodges an energy projectile and opens a hole in the wall. The monster attacks the panther, but she manages to dodge and attacks the creature's vines. The panther frees itself and cuts the vines that were trapping it. Su Chen prepares for the attack. He jumps towards the monster, aiming at its weak points, and attacks the creature's eyes directly. He is thrown back by the impact of his own blow. The panther watches the scene. Su Chen tells the creature to keep attacking. The panther fires an energy blast at the monster. The attack hits the creature directly, and the monster's eyes explode with the impact. The creature's crystal core falls, and the panther meows. Su Chen advances and takes the crystal, declaring that this time it is his. But the panther curses him while he absorbs the core. The place begins to collapse and water rushes in. Su Chen observes that the place will soon be submerged. Something catches his attention. He hears the desperate meowing of the panther, which is drowning. He realizes that the creature is afraid of water and picks it up by the scruff, inviting it to go with him to get it out of there. Su Chen releases her into the water and tells her to forget. The panther despairs and clings to his leg and lifts her up, reminding her that it was her choice and that he did not force her. Elsewhere, Bai Kang is surprised to see that the creatures are still standing. She wonders why they simply do not stay on the ground. Lu Xiaofeng shouts that the tank will not start and tells her to run, but Bai Chang decides to deal with the situation. She then turns around and is faced with the silhouette of a rabbit. The rabbit opens its mouth in a sinister smile. She realizes that it is absorbing energy from the surrounding bodies. The creature reveals itself as a giant rabbit-shaped monster. Lu Xiaofeng shouts for her to be careful of what is behind her. Vines emerge and tear her clothes, and trap her, lifting her towards the monster. She regrets letting her guard down. Bai Kang manages to break free and hits the monster. Lu Xiaofeng shouts for the monster to die, and fires the tank cannon. The projectile hits the creature squarely. The monster is engulfed by the explosion. The shot completely passes through it. Bai Tang observes the scene. Lu Xiaofeng is panting inside the tank, and celebrates finally having dealt with the creature. A green crystal core falls from the sky. Lu Xiaofeng questions what the crystal core that falls into his mouth is. Then Bai Tang asks worriedly if he is okay. He replies that he is fine, he just swallowed the core by accident, and now feels his body a little strange. Meanwhile, a small black cat meows. Su Chen appears and asks Lu Xiaofeng if he ate a crystal core. The young man wonders why he does not feel any power, and Su Chen explains that the best way to control them is by fighting, but first he will take them out of there. He then comments on Bai Kang's clothes, and she confirms that the cat will stay with them. Elsewhere, a woman is tied up and hanging from the top of a building. A creature holds her while she begs to be released, but he states that this only makes him more excited. His companion agrees, suggesting they take their time and make her scream even louder. She begs not to be killed, and the creature offers to keep her as a slave if she serves him well. But he threatens her, saying that if she does not satisfy him, she will be hung outside to dry. Desperate, she screams that she does not want to turn into dried meat. Then she gives in and promises that she will do her best to please him. The creature just replies with a good. The woman falls to the ground. One of the creatures notices someone arriving and tells them to take care of business first. Then a person gets out of the vehicle and steps on a cigarette. The monster asks who is bothering them and orders them to kill the newcomer for dinner. Bai Seng questions whether Lu Xiaofeng, newly recovered, will be able to handle 3 devourers, but Su Chen reassures her, saying that he will watch over him and that he should be able to manage if he is the Feng Shen he knew. He adds that combat is the best teacher for mastering powers. The creatures advance, shouting that this is his last day. Lu Xiaofeng is hit by multiple blows. Bai Kang worries that he will be beaten to death, but Su Chen states that he seems to have figured out how to use his powers. The creature wonders why he was not injured, since their strength is several times that of a human. Lu Xiaofeng explains that he is absorbing most of the energy from their punches. Confused, the monsters advance again to kill him. He then corrects, saying that it is not exactly absorption, and reveals his ability, Pillager. The creatures scream to be released as their strength is drained. Su Chen comments that Lu Xiaofeng's ability is like a black hole, confirming that he is Feng Shen. Then he simply says, right. Axes are thrown in the direction of the devourers. The blades hit the targets. Lu Xiaofeng remains standing. A man emerges and holds one of the axes in the air. Captain Sun arrives with his group and claims to have intervened in time to save them, and as payment he demands their food. Lu Xiaofeng recognizes him, but Su Chen tells him to get in the car first. Su Chen takes a box from the vehicle, reminding him that it is the apocalypse. He hands over the box of dog food, saying that is all he can give. Then he gets in the car and leaves while Captain Sun shouts for him to wait. One of the men asks why he did not take the chance to kill Lu Xiaofeng, and he replies that his axe missed. The subordinate to resolve this once and for all. Meanwhile, at the base wall construction, a worker comments that the help of a giant woman has doubled the efficiency. She worries about the amount of food she consumes, but he replies that it is worth it to protect everyone. The giant turns suddenly. A voice announces that Su Chen is back as his vehicle approaches. The yellow vehicle drives down a destroyed street towards the group. Then the car stops abruptly. The black cat jumps out, and Su Chen asks him not to run and scare the others. He then stretches and meows. Bai Kong comments that the animal seems happy to be outside, and Su Chen assures her that he will not run away. A voice exclaims that the place is perfect. General Gao asks if Su Chen possesses spatial abilities, and questions if he brought all the supplies from the military base, stating that security is now almost guaranteed. He then asks if Su Chen did not plan to tell them about his abilities, but Su Chen replies that he trusts them, and the general agrees to keep the secret. Bai Kong suggests naming the location Dawn Base to honor Su Chen's contribution. The general agrees it is a great name as it symbolizes hope and new beginnings. Su Chen reflects that it is an honor to have the base, which was the last refuge in his past life, named after him. Elsewhere, a person praises Senior Duan for effortlessly removing a mutant plant. Another voice states that the surgery would not be possible without her help. Duanya laments that the current environment does not allow for the treatment of more serious cases, and suggests that they could have many medical supplies if they cleared the devourers from the hospital next door. The scalpel in her hand brings back terrifying memories for the cat. Then it meows in her direction. She wonders if he is hungry upon seeing him tremble. With a smile, Duanya invites him to go with her, and decides that she will ask Su Chen if they can keep the animal when he returns. She walks with him in her arms, commenting that it is already difficult enough just to feed themselves. Upon reaching a door, the young woman announces that they have arrived. She then opens it and reveals that this is their temporary shelter. Suddenly, a figure grabs her from behind, inviting her to have fun. He throws her onto the bed, holding her hands. The young woman turns to her aggressor. Su Chen merely asks how she knew it was him. Later in the bathtub, Duanya asks the cat if Su Chen brought him back, and if he already has a name. Duanya suggests calling the cat Gold because of its pattern, and he meows in response. Su Chen appears and comments that it is a good name, but asks if she was not going to help him wash. She then questions him about the arsenal, and he reveals that with the crystal he picked up, he will be able to evolve into a level 2 human. The young man apologizes to the cat for the chaos earlier, and explains that he stored the crystal core in his spatial storage. Duanya asks if he's going to eat it now. Su Chen's body begins to transform. She questions if that is a level 2 human while the cat watches. The young woman can only call his name. Then she says she cannot take it. Outside, Yunyun looks in their direction. The cat meows again. Yunyun appears at the door and asks why Su Chen did not look for her when he returned. She declares that she is angry while changing size. He then appears in his new form and says that she arrived just in time.